And welcome back to the Flow Sports Fix. And joining me in the studio, I have the Flowman and the Statman. And gentlemen, last weekend there was some memorial games that were played, and we understand the reasons for those. And I just want to get your thoughts on them. And when these things happen, we see players wearing the black armbands to tape around the arm, and I've seen it happen at all levels of sport. And in the country football games that we saw, do you think it's a good thing, Flowman?
I actually do, and I think it's become a crucial part of how country communities actually mourn the loss of loved ones. And in the two cases, we're talking about Jezza, who's one of the young men from out of Urana, plays for the Billabong Crows in the Hume Football League. He sadly was lost to us 12 months ago in a road accident. And similarly, we had young Ben Milne, who played for the Birchip Watcham Bulls in the North Central Football League. And on the weekend, both of those clubs at their local game had a memorial where a guard of honour was done. The families were invited and the players wore black armbands. And it just got me thinking about this topic of how valuable the black armband and the wearing, if you like, of it and these memorials that we're doing are for country communities who maybe in a past era had a much larger church or maybe had a much larger support basis. But it seems that this is a way that our communities can get through what are tough and harsh times. And so I just thought how valuable that is in our country towns compared to maybe where the AFL, somebody passes away, president of the club, has done a lot of things and whatever, and the players wear it, but they didn't really know him. They weren't really associated with his era or whatever. But in the case of the weekend's two situations, and I know across other leagues, I remember in the Barossa Light and Gawler many years ago.
Oh, yeah, another one you're talking about, yeah.
Mark Pittman, played
yep.
for Kapunda, was their coach. He was a Tanunda legend. He passed away very suddenly in the middle of a season. It was just horrific through the whole league, and how football came together to celebrate the life of our loved ones, our larrikins in our towns. And I just felt this is a really important part of what we do in our football community.
We've seen it happen with many sports, the grieving and the healing through the power of sport. Jace, your thoughts?
Well, I've got a couple of thoughts on this. First of all, the two incidents that, or the two situations that Flowman pointed out for the weekend, you'd say hats off, congratulations, well done. All of the superlatives you want to point out, because you're exactly right. Sport is a big part of the healing process when it comes to tragedies and situations like that, and I think both of those incidents are absolute tragedies. So I'll start by saying that. I just worry, and Flowman alluded to this with the use of black armbands at AFL. It seems like every club every week is wearing black armbands these days, and we don't actually find out why, and I think that kind of cheapens the fact that the black armband itself. That worries me, because it is supposed to be, and at its core it is a powerful message when you wear a black armband. We are playing today in honour of whoever it may be. Once upon a time, when a game would start, a televised game, you'd know who, Collingwood are wearing a black armband today in memory of such and such. But now it's become such a common thing that we don't ever find out quite often who they're wearing their black armbands in honour of. At local level, I don't think we see it as much. But I worry that it's turned into a trivial thing in some circumstances. I've got to say, I don't think it is in the most part. I think most clubs treat and honour it with the respect it's deserved. But it's a case of sometimes monkey see, monkey do, and the black armband's almost become part of attire at AFL level now. And I just worry we see it too much when maybe it's not appropriate. And the cases that you've pointed out, I just want to reiterate that again, because the cases you pointed out on the weekend were just beautiful memorials, not just the black armbands, but the other things that went along with it for two people who were loved by their community and their club and unfortunately are no longer with us.
And when you say with the black armbands and the trivialisation, I understand. I get your point there. But when I think about it, I would like to know more. We don't know enough. Why don't we know enough? Why won't the AFL, if it's using the example, why won't they at the start of the broadcast or make a public relations announcement why it's happening. Why doesn't the team do it?
And this is where it gets down to media. We're the country media now. I took a personal interest in both of those clubs, and I take an interest, and I know, Jason, you do, in any of the personal connections that you've made, and was aware of both of those circumstances in both of those leagues. And so to take a personal, I guess, as a media person, as a sports commentator, as you and I are, Jace, that we are at this station at least saying we want to be part of this community. We want that this station is caring enough about it that we support it and get the information out there about it. Yeah. I know the Facebook pages have become, I think, one of the benefits of the Facebook page. There's a lot of things about Facebook I don't actually like, and certainly some of the ways that they're being run and so forth. But this, for mine, is a benefit where these kind of memorials that you're asking about, is the information readily available out there? We can get that information. We can ring up the families. I can write a text out to one of the families and say, hey, look, is there anything we want to say about this situation on air? And I think it adds to the value of it if the media are actually in a sensitive way participating in it, not for some sort of, here's a good piece of information that we can get out on our radio station, but more that we actually care enough that this is important to the grieving process that this family is going through, particularly given the COVID-19 circumstances which stop them from having actual funerals in some cases. And I see this as just so important for building community spirit and community development and town development, and even value of life, and the fact that these people haven't been forgotten so quickly off of the radar, that there is a little cup that's fought for by two clubs, the Jezza Cup, that means something to those local people.
Yep, I'd agree with that. And I think it all in all, I guess I'm leaning towards a caution rather than they're not, the black armbands shouldn't be used, because we've seen this in other parts of football, and I think it starts at the top. Once upon a time, if you went back to watching football in the 1950s, 1960s, banners that you ran through were restricted to the most important games of the season. Now they put up a banner every game. We've seen players chaired off recently for playing 50 games. Once upon a time, you had to play 300 games to get that honour. Now, what worries me is that we're going to see black armbands worn for people who... It's always a tragedy when somebody dies, and it's always sad when somebody associated with your club dies, but we want black armbands and that acknowledgement to be reserved for really tragic circumstances or really important people for that football club. And I think if we don't keep it as exclusive as that, then it means less. And I'd hate to see those sort of things mean less. That's the only point I'm trying to make. In this instance, though, like I said, I want to reiterate it for a third time. Beautiful acknowledgements of both families and both young fellows lost tragically too soon.
Yeah. Absolutely, and sometimes when these things happen, sport goes on. It doesn't matter. Someone has passed away, but sport is going on. Life goes on. Yeah. And coming together, being able to acknowledge it, celebrate if you like, and wear the black armband or whatever way people want to acknowledge it, it's got to happen. It's part of the grieving process. We all need to do it. And sensitive thoughts, and that's exactly right, Flowman. Sometimes the media does get that wrong, but we always try to get it right. We certainly try to get it right. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your comments. I really appreciate them. Anyone else, if you've got some thoughts, get in touch with us. You can contact us via our Facebook page. Sometimes it can be used for the power of good. Flow FM Australia is the handle to look for, or send Jason an email. He loves getting all those emails you keep sending him. Not the Bitcoin stuff. He's getting a bit sick of that, but all the other stuff he loves to get. Maybe some funeral directors out there could send you some information.
Yes, right.
Could well be. News@flowfm.com.au is the one to go to, is the email to use, but no more Bitcoins. He's had enough of the Bitcoins.